Oh, they got okra with that? It's
Well, that's because they live in Oklahoma.
right. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm
What about
saying.
collard greens? Are those good?
Collard greens are good.
That's further south.
Yeah, that's southern. They're good.
I tried them once, and
All
my
right.
wife made them, and she's a wonderful cook.
Yeah,
But
she is.
those things were fucking horrible, bro. I didn't. They all loved it, so don't get me wrong. But man,
Collard greens kind of reminds me of a slightly shittier version of spinach.
boiled
Oh, is
spinach.
that right? Same kind of
Yeah,
thing.
yeah. I mean, it's slightly different. The flavor's different, but it's similar in look and texture and feel, and the flavor's not like totally off, but it is different.
But
Yeah.
the texture is like the same as
Yeah,
like boiled canned spinach, dude.
yeah.
Oh man, my dad used to
Uh,
make me eat that crap when I was a kid, and I fucking hated it.
well, on that note, on the note of eating stuff, being forced to eat stuff you don't like, I'll go into the intro. Welcome everybody to the Can, where we discuss prison culture and the impact it makes on you. And speaking of the food, prison food, particularly the stuff you get in the cafeteria, has a really bad reputation. Is it nasty or is it just bland? I know I've heard both.
Both. It's
Both.
horrible. It's bland. It's shitty. They give you beans with every meal almost every day. It's bad, bro. Let me put it this way: if it wasn't for commissary for canteen, you would probably starve in there. I'm telling you.
Well, something a lot of people don't know. Yeah, something a lot of people don't know that happened about, I don't know, 7, 10 years ago, something like that, was Michelle Obama made fucking school lunches basically identical to
Yeah,
what you get in the penitentiary.
I
I mean,
remember that.
it's the exact same fucking menu. And
So
I had lunch at my kid's school before that happened and right after it happened, and there was a big difference. Big
Well,
difference.
oh wow.
here's something that people may not realize about the food in the prison. Has anyone heard of the company Aramark?
I
Yeah.
have not.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do. Okay. Well, Aramark does food, does it's like a distribution.
Institutional food?
More than that.
They do
Like,
uniforms and
yeah,
linen and shit
they do
too.
uniforms. They're kind of like a distribution company. Also, they distribute their stuff, but they do a lot of stuff with schools and packaging. They do packages. If you can order a package through Aramark and have it sent somewhere it's got stuff in it. But anyway, they purchased the rights. They went in cahoots with the state of California prison system, and they own the rights to the food that's in there. The food that's actually being served for your breakfast, lunch, dinner, meals, which is real shitty. And once they purchased it, the quality of the food went down. And the reason being is because they also have the rights to all the commissary. They're who your packages and your commissary comes through is Aramark. So they started skimping and serving you shittier shit so you would spend more money on commissary. It's a total, in my opinion, conflict of interest. It was discussed. But yeah, that's the type of stuff they do. I mean, the food is not great.
That's the sort of thing that makes riots happen, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I mean, the quality of life is really all somebody inside's got, you know?
Yep.
I remember this guy saying that he worked in a prison kitchen and he actually saw maggots on the meat. He's actually witnessed that.
Oh.
Where they had to scrape maggots off, yeah.
I got something similar to that. Not maggots or anything, but I remember one time I was working in a kitchen somewhere, and I had to make the turkey sandwiches for lunch, so I went to get the turkey, and the shit was fucking green. And I'm looking at it like, what the fuck? And I go and I look at the box. I swear on everything, on the box, right there on the box, it was labeled not fit for human consumption. And I took it to the head cook guy in there, the actual free staff, not another inmate. I'm like, hey, what's up with this, bro? Like, he looks at me and goes, no, you need to make that and serve that.
So they would risk giving everyone salmonella.
Yeah, dude, they were fucking buying like grade F meat and shit. Oof.
That's exactly what it is. Yeah.
So basically,
to say the least, that day I refused, and they sent me back to the mod, and then I got disciplinary action, and I lost 15 days of good time behind it, and then they just sent me back to work fucking like 3 days later.
And then they probably served the turkey, right?
Oh yeah, someone served it. I guarantee it. Yeah.
Is it fair to say that the average prison meal doesn't even measure up to like a Hungry Man TV dinner?
Oh, not even.
Oh no, the portions are so small, dude. It's like it's sad.
I want to say
I was lucky when I first went in lockup. The room I got had a bunch of crackers and granola bars. But the little tiny granola bars they give you?
I thought you meant white people.
No, saltines. And under the mattress. And after I was there for like a week and a half through 2.5 weeks, I started understanding why, dude, because the portions they give you are just fucking minuscule. You're like, are you trying to feed a fucking 5-year-old or an adult,
And if there's one dude out of 1,500 inmates who can't eat salt because of like a heart problem, nobody can have salt, right? That's the rule.
Oh yeah, no. They can't. Yeah, they don't season the food. So there's ways, like if you want to add salt and flavor to your meal, like one of the things that we do is we bring the little flavor packet from our top ramens and we'll use that.
Yeah.
There are some seasonings that you can actually buy through the package companies,
like salt and pepper.
Yeah, and your family can get you
the commissary.
You can get garlic powder and shit. Like, well, no, you can't get it at the commissary. But see, it's like there's two different things. Okay, so when you're in there, you got commissary, which is your draw, and okay, so like once a month you get to go to canteen, which is the store, and the last 2 digits of your number dictates when you go. 1 through 33 is the first week, 34 through 66 is the second week, and 67 through 99, or actually 00 through 33, right? And then 67 through 99 is the third week, and then there's no draw the fourth week. That's when they restock, refill, shipment comes, all that stuff. On top of that, you're allowed to get 1 quarterly pack. Mind you, this is all state of California.
Sent to you.
Right. So your family, friends, whoever, you, me,
and
Joe Blow.
There's specific distribution centers that you have to send that through.
Yep.
Like you can't just like fucking yellow mail.
No.
Hey, UPS guy, send us to San Quentin. That's not happening.
No, it's not like that. Yeah, there's package companies that have catalogs, and you order out of the catalog
things that you can send.
They fill the package and send it to you. Now, the way it used to be, like back in the day when my dad was in prison, back in like the 80s and shit. Oh yeah, you packaged it. Like, you'd go buy a big box. You're allowed to send them 40 pounds of stuff. It's still that way. You're allowed to get 40 pound box in your court, so you can order up to 40 pounds worth of shit. But it comes from these said companies. But back then, no, you packed the box. You could, I remember with Nana and Papa packing boxes for my dad of shit that he'd like. But I mean, people were smuggling stuff in that way. You know what I'm saying? Like, especially if you have like a sealer, you could open bags and reseal them. You could fucking open coffee things and seal it again. You know what I'm saying? And like, so people were totally smuggling shit in. Real quick on the food, I just want you to hear this number just so you know. So the average cost of per meal is $1.20 a day.
Well, as far as quality goes,
no,
that's 3 meals.
Yeah.
As far as quality goes, I think we should be fair and say that, though, preparing meals for like hundreds of people, it's hard to give a quality performance for each one because they're all eating the same thing and it has to be produced in a very short amount of time. So whereas at home, you have all the time in the world, and you can, lovingly season it.
Well,
It's just.
I mean, true. You got a lot more freedom when it comes to seasoning to make food better. Because once again, you have to cater to the masses when you're doing like that. And they're cooking more like along the lines of thousands usually, because the kitchen cooks for the entire institution. Not like each yard
Yeah,
will have like 1,000 people on it. Prisons are big. I mean, you usually got anywhere from 1,500 to 6,000 inmates at an institution around here. In California.
Oh,
Uh, but that's also only because you got to remember, Morgan, I was a catering chef for quite a long time, and I've cooked for large quantities of people, and I can make food taste good for everybody in the masses too.
that's
But
cool, yeah.
but that's also because I have more freedom to season and do shit. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
But yeah, so it's kind of funny that we started today's topic with food, man, because I brought up a whole bunch of my favorite jail snacks. Do you want to say something, Jason? Real quick?
I
Go ahead.
wanted to chime in on that. On my end of the experience I had, we pretty much made and produced everything that we ate where I was at.
Oh, yeah,
Uh,
that's.
what?
I said that's cool. That's that you were able to do that.
Yeah, so like we made our own bread. We went
Really?
deep sea
Yeah.
fishing a couple times a year. Caught a few 100 pounds of fish. Well, probably more than that. We had gardens where we grew everything, and our food, like the primary diet that we had, was everything that we produced, and it was always one of us making it. A lot of take back I learned from there was my love for the kitchen,
Mhm.
and you're like, oh well, shit, I've got 45, 65 people to feed, and I've got 50 pounds of rockfish, and I got 4 pounds of rice, and then you're like, oh,
That's almost some Gordon
this.
Ramsay shit right there.
Mhm.
Compared to most prisons.
I'm picturing some lemon pepper fish with like some like a fucking fried rice or a rice
Yeah.
a rice pilaf, a nice rice pilaf with some fucking, oh yeah, dude.
Ray, you were at San Quentin,
Yeah.
so did they do a thing where if you're in the hole, they give you the leftovers from the day? It's like some kind of loaf, they call it.
No, no,
No, they didn't
no,
do that there.
no. I mean, I wasn't in the whole, but no, they have to serve you. You get your meal portion. You get the same meal portion.
Yeah.
It
Every
doesn't
inmate
matter
gets,
where you're
yeah.
at. That's
Every
what you
inmate
get.
gets the same meal portion. You don't get more. You might get a little extra food if you work in the kitchen, but other than that, no, you get the same meal portion, the same meal everyone gets across the whole institution,
Well, even
unless you have
yeah.
dietary requirement, like you're allergic to this, or your religious faith, like Muslims can't eat pork, so they don't get anything with pork in it. You know what I'm saying? Shit like that. So religious diets,
Do they do
Yeah.
that for the Jews too? Or they're like,
yeah, yeah,
is
yeah.
there like a Jew block?
No,
Is
it's not
there
a
a
Jew.
Hebrew block?
No,
That's what I want
there's
to
not a
know.
Hebrew block, but there are Hebrew, and they get their meal is kosher. Everything is
No
kosher. It has to
shit.
be. Yes,
That's
yes,
you know,
yes.
Mhm.
as much as being in the can fucking sucks. That's kind of awesome.
Yeah, no, dude, I'm
They
telling you,
can do
bro.
that.
Separation from your family is the only part of it that really sucks. Other than that, being in prison is fucking awesome, dude.
I'm glad I went to jail, and the only thing that I really miss is probably having regular, dope all the time, getting drunk regularly, and I miss Lucy and Trinity. But other than that, I fucking love being in jail.
Well, Richard Speck, the
There's so much
serial
shit to do.
killer,
It's fun
he
as
was in a
fuck, man.
prison where Richard Speck, the serial killer, was in a prison where they were allowed to order pizzas. Like if you had the
Yeah.
money, prison didn't pay for it, of course, but if you could gather the money together, they were ordering shit in. So
Okay, so it didn't happen all the time, but while I was there, that was one of the things I helped coordinate with my boss. It was his idea to start, and so I just helped him coordinate it and get the paperwork going. I helped work and everything. But we did the pizza drive where inmates were allowed to order. So what it was is you had to pay. You paid extra. It was like 10. It was Little Caesars, and it was like $10 a pizza, pepperoni, and then it was like $13 for like the one with like,
Instead of
yeah,
for
instead
the
of
hot and
five.
ready ones.
Yeah, and so what it
Yeah.
was, and the reason was, is because you had to pay them, and then they made Oh no, it was 7 and 10. That's what it was. But anyway, you paid them, but then the prison made a small percentage off it also. You know what I'm saying? But then
Oh
you made.
yeah.
I mean, but that money, it didn't like go to like the cops. Like it goes back, like it goes to Damien Renault, the community resource manager, and that money goes back into the prison. Which I can't remember where we spent it on setting up a couple programs. We got the art and healing program going, which I coordinated that while I was there. We'll get to that one day. That was a really fucking awesome group, arts and healing dude. Basically, we just did art and then sat around and talked about shit. And I'm really good at getting dudes to fucking open up and talk about shit, man. It was a really great class, which I won't talk about what was said in there because that's part of the steal. And that's why people knew it was cool to talk over there because I was serious. It's fucking something I said. If I find out anybody talking about anything on this yard, dude, I'll fucking fire you up on the yard. And if I can't handle you, I got bigger homeboys than me that can. So shit in here stays secret. Men need to feel okay with talking. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of dudes opened up in there, but it was really cool. But anyway, so that was it. So I mean, hundreds and hundreds of pizzas were ordered that one day. And so if you ordered, and you were allowed to order, I think, as many as you wanted. Because I remember there were dudes that had stacks, man. But there was tons of leftover pizza too. I got like 6 pizzas given to me at the end because they were like, well, they're all paid for. It's like, who knows why people didn't show up or this, that, and the other. So I went back to the fucking dorm with just like a stack of
Because
fucking pizza
people were
boxes.
like sending people
Wow.
pizzas and shit. They didn't
Yeah.
even know they got a pizza.
Yeah, exactly, probably. And so it was cool. I went there. I gave each of the races in the dorm. I gave each one of them a pizza just for diplomatic, reasons. And then I had like 8, because you got remember, like you said, everything's segregated by race. And then there was like fucking I had like 4 pizzas left, and there were like 8 white dudes in there. I gave one to like a group, or I gave 2. No, I had 5 pizzas. I gave like 2 to a group of them. Actually, I guess I had more than that because I gave 2 to them, and I gave 1 to these other 3. And then my bunkie got a pizza. I gave my bunkie a whole pizza to himself. And
Did the Aryan Brotherhood, did they get some pizza too?
I mean, I imagine somewhere they didn't get any of mine. I mean, they didn't approach me about it. Like I took it back to my dorm and I fed, inside my dorm. I fed my people. That's the thing. The way it is, like usually you feed your people. So like whatever dorm they were in, someone in there was feeding them, or they got their own. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the way it is. Like you take care. It's kind of like the way it should be. You can have a bigger government that oversees everything, but they should only get involved when it's serious and it affects everybody. For the most part, your small cells, aka your counties or cities, that's who should take care of everything for you. You know what I'm saying? You guys should handle yourselves, and the big federal government, aka the ones in charge, or the key holders of the yard, whoever they may be. Which on my yard, the key holder of my yard was actually a dude from Napa. So, and I was the only other dude from Napa. So, that was another reason why I didn't really have too many issues when I first got there. But then
that was some shit that saved my ass too, dude.
Yeah.
There was like 2 other guys from Napa there, and they were like, "Oh, you're from Napa?"
But
Okay.
then he ended up getting caught up with some stuff and getting in trouble, and he got they went after, and the guy who ended up taking over as the key holder was from Modesto, and he lived in the dorm directly above me, and him and I we for months now we would, because they'd crack our doors and we'd have to wait to walk around to chow, and him and I would stand outside and bullshit. Once he took over, it was pretty cool. Once he took over as the key holder, I had my office, man. He key holders got special privileges that the average inmate don't have. Like they can kind of move around, come and go. There are times where the warden will come out in the yard and like you'll see the one representative from each race, and it's usually the key holder, will walk out and they'll have like a powwow out in the middle of the yard while everyone's still locked down. Like that happened when there was a big after one. There was 2 riots while I was there. After one riot, before the second one kicked off, there was talks of a second one kicking off, and they squashed that by having that meeting. But anyway, he used to come through the gate because my office was like off the prison yard into the foyer. Like the warden's office was across the courtyard from my office. You know what I'm saying? I could see it through the window, and I worked out with the free staff and shit. I walked around with a fucking filing folder and fucking like a clipboard and shit, and like helped run programs and get funding for things. It was a really cool job. I really enjoyed doing it. But anyway, he would start coming over and sit in my office and have talks with me, and we because when you become the key holder, you got a whole race of people, like hundreds of people that life or death shit can happen. It gets rough, and he always knew through what people have always told, like, hey, no, you can go talk to that Scoob guy, and he doesn't talk about what you talk about, man. And I don't. People know that. Like, talk about anything. Like, stays with me, bud. And I'll give you my straight up advice. No bullshit about it. I don't pull punches. I tell what I think. And so he respected that. So yeah. So then when he took, the point of the whole thing was when he took over, him and I had a great rapport. And so that also helped me not have any issues, even though I wasn't like fucking hardcore running with the gang. I walked my path. I stood on my own, but I got involved in some shit. I had to do a disciplinary on one guy with somebody else. You know, it's funny. Me and the UFC fighter guy, me and him had the same guy that I fought that one time. Him and I had to DP another guy together while I was there. So it's kind of funny, you know.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
Not double
to learn
penetrate,
a martial-
disciplinary. You fucking
Yeah.
DP means
Yeah, it's-
disciplinary.
It'd definitely be useful to know a martial art when you're going to do time. So
Oh,
he
yeah,
probably
dude.
he probably fended off a lot of shit, you know.
Oh yeah, no, that dude Casey, that was his name. Fucking no, dude, he kicked ass on every. There was this huge black. And I don't mean fat. I mean like huge black dude. That you know he thought he was running the show. He pushed all the other races around. He acted like he's a big dick. Like he'd walk in like take the remote, change the channel. What you gonna do? Well, then Casey got moved into the dorm, and he was trying to do that same shit. And Casey was like, "Hey, dude, all that thinking that you're the boss and you get to this is a dictatorship in here. All that shit goes out the window today." And the dude tried to get him up with Casey. Fuck, Casey beat his ass too. I swear to God. And I'm like, damn. And mind you, that like it all happened right after, like, shortly after fucking. Or was it right before? It was right before I moved in, but everybody talked about it. And I met the big dude. The dude was huge, and I'm like, wait, Casey kicked that dude's fucking ass? And everyone's like, yeah. You in this black dude, Trubs. He was like, yeah, Casey kicked fucking Parquet's ass, dude. I'm like, oh, because Parquet was a real nice, respectful guy when I got there. You know?
Last time you guys got released from prison, what was the first meal you had? The first real food where you're like, I'm gonna eat such and such, and I'm gonna, you know.
This is gonna sound super stupid. I had a grilled cheese sandwich, dude.
Yeah.
Was it the best grilled cheese sandwich you ever had after all that experience?
I can kind of taste it in my mouth right now, bro. I mean, oh, it was so fucking good. Sourdough with
Sourdough, right?
American and cheddar cheese. Y'all make me hungry.
If I remember correctly, I don't really remember too well. If I remember correctly, though, I believe it was burgers. Went out and got like a real fucking burger. Jacob took, and that night we had pizza, I think,
Yeah.
for dinner. But like when I first got out on the way home, we stopped at a restaurant. I went in and got like a real fucking restaurant and got fucking like those real burgers, you know, with fucking like steak fries and fucking the kind of burger they serve you with like a fucking steak knife. You know what I'm saying?
So speaking of food related privileges, I was going to go into the general subject of, you know, reward based programs. Do you think incentives really help inmates to motivate inmates to behave themselves, or are they always just going to be criminals, or what?
Well, I mean, okay. You know what the definition of integrity is, right? Or what integrity truly is. It's doing the right thing when nobody's looking. Okay,
Yeah,
that's integrity. Okay, and
I gotta make some mac cheese. I'm still gonna be listening, but I'll be out
All
of
right.
frame.
all right, go ahead.
Okay.
You can always
Yep.
you can always flip down and chime in if you want. We know you're there. But anyway, so I mean, it boils down to that. You know, either you have that or you don't. You know, and
Yeah.
the incentives and it's all motivation. It's all great motivation for you to not cause more trouble, to get out of the trouble you're in. But once you're out of trouble and you're no longer there, do you have the internal fortitude and integrity to continue to do the right thing? You know, and that's what it boils down to. I do think that they really help. They help people stay good. They definitely do. They help motivate inmates to not cause trouble because, like when I was there, I was a half timer, right? So I should have done 3 solid years, but I ended up getting 33%. You know, because that shit got passed while I was there. Half timer nonviolent cases got dropped down to 33%. But if you caused any trouble, you lose that. You know what I'm saying? So I got like 8 months knocked off my sentence. So I instantly was like,
Okay.
well, shit, dude. If I cause shit now, I'm going to gain 8 more months. That's an entire year county prison sentence. Like, or year county sentence, not prison, but year county jail sentence. Like, if you do a year in county, you do 8 months. You actually, somewhere between there and 9. It's around 244 days. But anyway, fuck, sick how I know that, right? But anyway, so yeah, so in that instance, yeah, totally, you know. But once you're not in trouble, you're not being supervised, you're not, you know, risking anything really other than potential cost of being caught. Will you stay good when once you know what I'm saying? Like once you're out of being grounded, are you good forever? And no, and once it really boils down to, for the most part, unless we decide we're just tired of doing certain things, people aren't going to change. Just like drug addicts, alcoholics, hookers, fucking porn addicts, porn stars, fucking people
There's nothing wrong with being a porn addict.
no, people who people who overeat, gluttony, things. Unless you actually don't want to do that shit anymore, nothing's going to change. The only way that we can fix that type of behavior, the only way we can stop so many people going to prisons and shit and recidivism rate is we got to nip it in the bud before it begins. We got to fix the children. We got to save the kid.
This one's for the children of the world.
You know what I'm saying? And that goes right back to something me and Jason were just talking about on our last episode, and something we talked about on the last episode of Straight from the Can. Well, Jason and I discussed it on Fact You. It's a thing that I've discussed adamantly and many times. It was in my sociology paper for my finalist wrote, and it's the lack of fathers. It's the fatherlessness, absentee fathers. It's so many kids, boys and girls, don't have a good, strong, positive male role model to help guide them through the most influential, most important years of their life, which is puberty through young adulthood. And without that, we're fucked. Like, without good dads, good male role models helping guide you, helping you so you don't have to just figure it out. You can actually have a starting point of where you should go from. Without that, nothing's going to get fixed. People are going to keep going back to jail and prison. Maybe I should read those statistics that I just read to you earlier, huh, Jason? To Morgan.
Well, I think maybe fathers, males.
I think this is a good place to put those in, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, so do I. Here, I got something. Go ahead, bud.
Well, I think like maybe fathers are more comfortable not being their children's friend. You know, they can accept their child's going to be pissed off because they can't do whatever they want, but maybe that's harder for mothers to live with.
Yeah.
But
that's a lot of the things. You know, single mothers, they want to be their kid's friend. You know, because for whatever reason, women they're emotional creatures. Their whole thought process begins from a completely different part of the brain than men. They start from
that's 100% true.
They start from I want to say it's the limbics. It's where your emotions and things like that start from, where men's thought process begins in the frontal cortex, was where your rational thought and logic begins. So we begin thoughts with logic and rationale, where women begin all thoughts with emotions and feelings. And that you can see it in the way that we speak in generally, you know. But anyway, here, so I just got done doing my final in my sociology paper, and I told you guys last week what my topic basically was deviant behavior and how it relates to the epidemic of lack of fathers, and how the government incentivizes single motherhood through the welfare program. Well, throughout this paper, it's a big 7-page paper. I went off on this thing, bro. I won't read it all to you guys, but I wrote this paragraph right here, and basically I'm just throwing out statistics I got from some of these sites. In this one fucking article written by this person on this fucking, what was it called? Fucking Ron.
Jeremy?
Yeah, no, Ron B. Palmer's guy who wrote it. But it was from fixfamilycourts.com. So it's a court. This is fucking a law site, okay? And here we go. Let me just read this paragraph to you. So 2/3 of all children murdered are murdered by their mothers. Girls raised without fathers are more sexually promiscuous and more than likely to end up in divorce. 70% of
And
teen
end up
births.
pregnant in their teens.
True, I'm getting to all that. Listen, 70% of teen births occur to girls in single mother homes. 70% of high school dropouts. 70% of teen suicides. 70% of runaways, juvenile delinquents, and child murderers all come from single mother homes. 63% of youth suicides. 70% of teen pregnancies. 71% of adolescent substance abuse. 80% of all prison inmates. 90% of all homeless and runaway children come from single mother homes. Children brought up in single mother homes are 5 times more likely to commit suicide, 9 times more likely to drop out of high school, 10 times more likely to be sexually assaulted, 10 times more likely to abuse chemical substances, 14 more times likely to commit rape, 14 more times likely to commit rape, 20 times more likely to end up in prison, and 32 more times likely to run away from home than
Yeah.
children who are raised in 2-parent homes, one,
Yeah, it's like
male
it's
and
like
female.
I have this like kind of mixed feeling about this. Like on one hand, it's kind of lame to blame the fact that you didn't have a father around for all your mistakes, but on the other hand, I am kind of a statistic in that regard. Like many of the things you just mentioned,
Yeah,
that happened.
yeah.
So
100% true, and it is true. Without
yeah,
my shit is I've had such a hard time it's taken me so much longer to get a good solid rationale on things because I didn't have that. But there does come a point where we have to stop blaming that. Like you can blame that in your teens and maybe early 20s, but after like 25, 28, especially
yeah,
30,
yeah.
there comes a time where it's no longer their fault anymore. We've had 10 solid years as an adult, now it's my fault for the shit that I've done, especially after 30. You know what I'm saying? And but I do get it, because without my dad present, without a male figure, I had to figure it out. I didn't know what I was doing. I made this shit up as I go, and unfortunately, I made a lot of the wrong choices. Because I didn't have that solid starting point to begin from, so I just,
Like
and
if I
it
were
fucks up.
performing some kind of if I were like performing some kind of show for like inmates in prison, like maybe like a stand-up comedy show or spoken word,
A
and
little
I
show.
asked for a show of hands, like I would ask for a show of hands, how many of you grew up without a father? I think like there'd be like probably way over the 50%.
80%. I just said that 80% of all people who end up in prison grew up without fathers, and
Yeah,
that's true.
because
That's true.
you need a healthy authority figure in your youth to teach you how to live,
Yep.
and you need to be taught to respect authority.
You will respect my authority.
And most kids these days are not taught that, so
Nope,
they're going
they
to
are
end up in
definitely not.
jail.
And some cultures are much worse at that than others too.
Spider-Man Homecoming face ass. What are you talking about? Shut up. Hell, bitch. Ryan, you put that little kid. Shut the fuck up. Versus that don't look like his you got no ugly ass church like that. I'm frying his ass. His deep fried Oreo head ass. I bet when I go one of them in a fry pan, they have one burn.
Yeah, that's true. Well, especially Western cultures.
Well,
Fucking
I
kids
mean,
are telling their parents to fuck off and time
well, yeah,
out.
that's true. That's true. Well,
Time out, mister.
that goes right back to the fact that kids don't have anything to be afraid of anymore. Like you can't spank your kids, you can't discipline them. Sending your kid to their room where all their toys are isn't punishment. It's not. Having them do a timeout, making a kid stand in the corner for 3 minutes isn't a punishment. Losing all your shit, that's sort of a punishment. Getting your ass spanked, that's a punishment. That lets you know, ooh, don't do that. I'll get spanked. One of the reasons why I didn't do shit as a juvenile when I was younger, and it wasn't until I was older that I really started getting in trouble, was because I knew that if I fucked up and caused trouble, my grandpa would beat my ass. And that wasn't an exaggeration. He would whoop the shit out of me. He had a belt that was named Mr. Mean. You know what I'm saying?
Mr. Mean, yeah.
Yes. It's the same belt that he whooped my mom and aunts and uncles' asses with when they were kids, and he'd whip our ass. That was a generational belt, Mr. Mean. And that was a big old thick leather belt. And it let you know. You get spanked with Mr. Mean once, you knew. Like, I don't want to do that again. I don't want to do that again.
Well, it's like either that or get disciplined in jail, and that's much worse than getting the belt. So.
Oh, yes, it is, because that's done with fucking fists and shit, you know?
And that leads me actually to my next topic, the depiction of prison in fictitious media, TV, film. It's often not very realistic. Like, as much as I love Trailer Park Boys, I don't think jail's usually like that. Where it's like, don't be just in jail, right? Where they're like, oh, it's a blast at Christmas time. We get drunk and high. I mean, I'm sure inmates do find ways to do that, but not in the way that it's depicted on Trailer Park Boys.
Well, no, it's not open and the cops are a part of it. But jail and prison isn't all bad. Jail sucks way more than prison. I'm not going to lie, because you're locked inside. But in prison, you're outside a lot. Like, there is a lot to do. There's a lot of fun. Man, I used to go play horseshoes every fucking Monday night after the program we went to. Me and 4 guys would go back to the yard, because there was an hour and a half a yard late night, Monday nights. And we'd go play horseshoes and shit, man. Like, jail isn't all bad. Prison isn't, especially prison, like I'm saying. It's not all bad. A lot of times you are just hanging out with your friends, having a good old time, getting drunk and high, and fucking eating spread, which, mind you, yes, I'm eating a jailhouse spread right now. Oh, yeah. Well, this is the top ramen, or it's a cup of noodles, but it's got some Cheetos, Doritos, and pork rinds mixed up in there with some hot sauce and some mustard, a tuna pouch. Mm-hmm. Good stuff. But anyway.
Tuna pouch.
Right?
You could tuna
so it's not. I mean,
you can never tuna pouch.
Right? But like I said, go ahead.
Well, I know a very gritty portrayal was in the movie American History X. I don't know. Is it that harsh? Did you find it?
No, I sure didn't.
Not unless you're like in the middle of a war or something, you know?
Yeah.
And that doesn't happen very often.
I don't know anyone who's ever been anally raped in there, for starters. Now, I know it happens. I know that people have anal sex. I know that very few white people actually partake in that, because if we found out, we don't allow homosexuality among the white race in there. It's not. You have to go to the PC yard if you're a homosexual and you're white, or at least if you're openly out. And that's not necessarily true. I guess you can be, but if you're caught doing anything while you're there, because I've met a few that I'm pretty sure were gay. But
they other races,
other races are more open with it. Some races, will totally partake in it, and they don't even think they're gay.
So, what movie or TV show have you seen where you saw prison being depicted, and you thought, wow, that's pretty realistic. They just about got it right.
None.
No, there's a movie called Felon. I'm trying to remember what's his name that's in it. I
don't know.
Hold on. No, not Felony. Felon. That's not Felon. Stephen Dorff. Yeah. And Val Kilmer.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Felon. It's about when they were having the underground fight shit going on in Corcoran, which happened just before I was there. I was in Corcoran, but I wasn't there during that. That was a pretty realistic fucking movie of what it's like in there. And then there's another one that just came out. I want to say Shot Caller. Yeah, excuse me. That's it. Shot Caller, and it stars Nicola Coster, whatever. He played Jamie Lannister on Game of Thrones.
Oh yeah.
The Kingslayer, the guy who cut off his hand, the one who was banging his sister. Yeah. But he plays this guy who goes to prison and ends up becoming a shot caller while he was there. That was a pretty good, accurate, pretty good movie. It's like you see things like Oz, where everyone's just fucking each other in the ass and shit all day long, and it's as sick. Oz was a great show, and I loved it.
It
I,
is.
I,
Yeah,
I
I loved
still
it.
like it.
I've seen the whole thing twice. Yeah, I have
Yeah,
the
yeah.
DVDs. Yeah.
But it's not
Well,
really
the
like
guy
that.
the guy who created it and wrote it, he's never done time. It's just his conception of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like it's almost like a fairy tale about prison.
I remember when that show first came out, and I was like, they had that, they had that one dude with the fucking hat, and I was like,
The little hat that
Adam
hung
BC.
back here.
Yeah, Adam
Yeah.
BC, the
Anabisi,
African guy.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And I was
yeah,
just like, that's so theatrical, but
Yeah.
like the behind the
Well, I've seen guys in there kind of like him, though.
interactions that show portrayed was semi accurate. You know, I mean, like,
How the fuck did he get hold of a curtain and have the privilege of keeping it drawn? Like seriously, in real life,
Yeah,
real
no.
persons, you'd never get that.
Let's put it this way: we make curtains. They're called privacy curtains. We make curtains, and we hang it like with sheets and stuff. And you'll hang them around your rack, and fucking that way you're just, because especially when you're in a dorm area. Now, if you got a cell, it's a little different. You got a little more privacy. But if you're in a dorm area, you got no privacy whatsoever. And so like if you're trying to read a book or you're trying to go to sleep or whatever, like there's lights, there's noise, there's things. So but if the cops come through there for a sweep, they rip them all down because you're technically not supposed to have them. No,
that's because they're supposed to be able to see you
at all times. Matter of fact,
they keep the lights on when you sleep. Bro.
Matter of fact, at late night when they're going around, if you have your face covered, like you can cover your eyes, but you can't cover like your face. You can't be completely hidden. Even in jail, they'll wake you up. They'll bang on your bed or on your window of your door or the bars or whatever, wherever you're at, to see that you move. Like they have to be able to see your face, or they can't count you.
Yeah. We used to take beanies. We get oversized beanies, but yeah, cut it right at the nose, pull them down to the top of your nose, and then just tie it with a rubber band super tight so it stays there, just so we wouldn't see the lights that they have on all night, man, because it's worse than a nightlight, bro. It's everywhere.
This is what I sleep with every night, still to this day.
God, wow.
Yeah.
I can't sleep without shit over my eyes. I actually got a sleep mask that I wear sometimes too.
It took me a while to get over it.
I have to.
Well, I mean, in a place like the Hall, as they call it in San Quentin, where it's basically a gymnasium with a bunch of bunk beds.
It's called the gym. It's not called the Hall. It's called the gym.
Oh, they just called the gym. Oh, okay.
It's called the gym.
Because I'm producing an episode of my podcast and it's based on this guy was an inmate in San Quentin. He was in that place at first, and the Aryan Brotherhood had a huge presence in that room, and they raped him. They forced him to become the property of the leader. Like this guy had like one of the classic horrific prison experiences.
It sounds like he was a sex offender. That's the only way I could see something like that happening.
No,
it sounds to me like he might be embellishing his story a little bit too.
Yeah.
He was arrested. He was arrested for like DUI that resulted in 5 people dying, and though he was later exonerated because the police didn't look at the evidence in the right way. But it's pretty hardcore what he described. It's not a lot of the guys who do get inducted into the Aryan Brotherhood. They do it through rape, and you have to kill somebody. And
that's how you do it.
That's as they say, blood in. Blood out means guilt.
I don't know about the rape part. I've never heard that amongst my circles. But to kill someone, yeah, that's definitely accurate.
Did you see guys with swastikas on their foreheads?
Oh yeah. I know plenty of guys that got that.
Because they got
my dad's got
the Aryan Brotherhood. It's a tiny part of the prison population, but they commit something like 20% of the murders. They commit a lot of murder. That's what I read anyway.
Well, they command a lot of respect, and it's only gained certain ways when you're in a situation like that. So, not that I'm trying to defend them or anything.
No, not at all.
But I mean, realistically, if you're thinking like, because you got to consider it's the politics inside are like brutal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you got to take in consideration too that anyone in there that type of shit happens to, who gets murdered, whatever, there is a reason why. You know,
Yep.
murders don't just happen randomly, and well, very few, unless it's like a real psychotic, like serial killer type guy.
Nobody wants to
And
hurt anybody, you know?
and also you have to remember, it's kind of like if I go out and do something right now in the name of right wing conservatism, they'll blame it on Trump and MAGA. So anything a white guy does, they can, and probably in a lot of instances, push it back to the Aryan Brotherhood. They just say Aryan Brotherhood, because he's white.
Or white
So
supremacist.
white
Yeah.
supremacist, right? You know what I'm saying?
Well,
So
being a white male is considered racist now. That's a hate crime in and of itself.
it's the only race apparently that is and can be.
Which is so freaking absurd because like the definition of the word racist is judging somebody.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
You know?
And also, there's only
Content
one.
by their skin, not the content of their character.
The only country in the world where most of the population is white and does not accept immigrants and refugees is Russia. Other than that, all the white countries they've accepted people coming from other countries. Some have official multiculturalism policies, like Canada. Most of the countries that do not accept immigrants and refugees are places that are where the population are people of color.
Yeah.
All those countries,
No,
they don't, you know.
No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No,
I was just saying I agree.
like Japan seems pretty evolved, but it's legal there to deny service to someone who's not Japanese. There's a lot of restaurants where they won't let you in if you're not Japanese, and they accept it. So we don't. There's that. You think that rule exists here in Canada or in the United States? Can you imagine the flack you would get for denying service to someone because of the race? The Chick-fil-A guy just donated some money to some Christian organizations who are against gay marriage, and fucking they blew up at him. So,
Well, yeah, but like if what you're saying, I agree 100%. But like, I don't think there's something wrong with denying somebody if they're not a citizen or not supposed to be there.
I agree with that too.
but if they want to give your business money, I mean,
On the private scale, that's kind of a gray area. I can kind of see it both ways. But on as far as like a social scale or plane is, nobody should be that's not supposed to be here should be getting any freaking health benefits. They shouldn't be going to our penitentiaries. They should be getting deported immediately. Et cetera, et cetera.
did they put a lot of illegal aliens in prison?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. But here's the thing though, brother. Once their sentence is over, they do get deported, whether it's from county or prison. They're picked up by ICE. No, they are. Trust me, I've seen it happen hundreds and hundreds of times. But the issue is it's so easy to come right back that they just come back. I've had this conversation with illegals in jail, in prison.
Oh yeah, I'll be back next week.
No, within a week. Within a week. They're I'll be back within a week. No worries. Yeah, I'll be back in a week. Everyone
Actually, and when you're in prison, not just with illegal aliens, but don't you constantly see the same guys coming back over and over again?
Recidivism.
Yeah. So long, I'll see you, in a month or something. Yeah.
Do you know what recidivism is, Randy?
I don't have a clue, Mr. Lee.
That's when people go back to jail over and over and over.
Oh yeah. The shortest I ever made it was I want to say I feel like it was a day or two, but the shortest I ever heard of, there was a guy who was only out for 2 hours.
2 hours?
Yeah.
What the fuck did he do to get back in?
Well, he left there. He left the county jail. He didn't get back to prison in 2 hours. It takes time to do all that. But he left jail and was back in jail within 2 hours. And what it was is he left there. He went straight. It was like 2 blocks up is the liquor store. He went straight up to the liquor store, got fucking hammered, and then was stumbling around like back by like right by the jail. And they like cops came outside to like I don't know, get in his car, smoke cigarette, and there's a guy they just released, and he's fucking hammered all.
Yeah, and then there are guys. There are guys.
Maybe that was me.
Could have been. There are guys who are either members. members of gangs or organized crime families, the challenging thing for them is that they're not, when they're on probation or parole, they're not allowed to consort with known criminals. Their friends, all their friends are criminals. It's hard for them to avoid it, you know.
No, that's true. That's been terms of my parole. It's been terms of my probation. Can't consort with known felons. I was once a term of my probation. I couldn't even go to the skate park in Napa.
Really?
You know?
Oh yeah.
I had it
Yeah.
on my probation. Like I couldn't talk to any of my friends.
Yeah.
Can't. Not even. What did you say, Morgan? Known
Known
criminals.
known,
You know, mine was worded like known cohorts, which included anybody that I ever hung out with.
Well, look, every American I've known has either been inside or known someone has been inside.
That's what she said.
Some of the highest incarceration rates in the world are in America.
Oh,
So
yeah.
that they certainly make it hard for people not to associate with known criminals, even if they just did it in the past. But
Dude, I told him, I was like, dude, that's over half my family.
your
Yeah.
father, yeah.
Well,
You're telling me I can't go home? Like,
the way they do it, though, it kind of like overkills the whole terminology. Known criminals. This is supposed to be the land of the free. Well,
Yeah.
except for in Morgan's case. I'm just giving you a hard time, but I mean,
Well, actually,
that was a Canada joke, bud.
no, but that's my point, though. Exactly, is that like we have so many stupid laws and regulations. Our Canadian friends over here, like, yeah, that's fucked up. You know what I'm saying? It should be the opposite.
That's fucked up.
well, one idea I shared with Ray once is like prisons should, in places where weed is legal, of course, should allow indica dominant edibles to be consumed in the prison because that could probably reduce the levels of violence, right? If you're stoned
agree.
on that, if you're stoned, are those like gummies or something, or what are those?
Oh, those are peanut butter,
Peanut
oatmeal,
butter.
chocolate chip mini cookies.
Yeah, something like that.
Big
Something
Pete,
like
dude,
that.
I've had some hash from those.
Something like
Definitely
that.
keeps
If everybody's mellowed,
Yeah.
if everybody's mellowed out on indica, are they going to get into a fight? Could you get into a fight on those edibles?
I mean, I could.
Yeah, it'd be
I function
hard.
on. I function on.
Well,
on-
that's
on
because
the
you like
daily.
to rumble. So
Yeah, and I do like to rumble. But no, you're right. And for those who don't know, indicas are much more of a knock your dick in the dirt kind of high, where sativas are much more of an uplifting, energetic, creativity type of high. And
Yeah,
so usually what the consistent smoker will say, sativa in the morning, indica in the evening. But me, I'm whatever, bro. I don't give a shit. I'll do it all right now. Let's rock, dude.
when I go to the dispensary, they always ask me. They're like, "Oh, do you want a sativa or an indica or a hybrid?" I'm like, I want whatever's going to give me the highest.
Yeah, I go,
Yeah.
what's got the most THC? Yeah, I'll take that.
What's got the best technomes on it? It's
Right? Yeah. Like when I go into the liquor store, I'm like, okay, what's got the highest alcohol content? Okay, yeah, the shit that just says drinking alcohol.
Well, I mean, it would be cool if some doctors were to examine Ray's genetic, his genes and find out what is it that enables him to pound his immune system with all this liquor and
Dude,
shit and
dude.
still. I mean, you're walking tall,
For
Well,
decades, bro. Go ahead, Jason. You first. Go ahead.
yeah. I was going to say, ditto. It's because we don't have any of those freaking vaccines.
It's got to be. It's got to be.
You think so? Yeah.
Oh, no, I firmly believe that one of the worst inventions for the average person now to use this in hospitals or like the kitchen, in like production kitchens, okay. Other than that, this should have never gone to the public for general use, but it's antibacterial soap. No, you want bacterias. You need to get germs. You need to get in the dirt to build immunities to things, or else you're going to be susceptible to normal shit and it'll kill you. Antibacterial is horrible. No one should be letting their kids wash their hands with that shit. No, you know.
And they totally pushed it.
Oh yeah,
When COVID hit, I figured like India would like lose half of its population because there's no pride. It's such an overcrowded country. There's no
way
privacy.
overcrowded, dude.
But you know what?
I thought the same thing with the
Yeah.
homeless population.
Yeah. But India has this big problem with like public defecation. There's just literal shit everywhere.
San Francisco's
There's lots
kind of the
places
same way
with
these
water.
days.
The water's just infected with all kinds of crap. So maybe that's why they didn't have really huge rates of COVID deaths there. Their immune systems are strong. Same thing with the Mexicans. Mexico, the water will give us diarrhea, but to
Homeless
them,
people.
So I've always had a really great immune. No, and you're right, Morgan. Like I'm curious too. I honestly think that I've got the cure to like most colds and diseases and shit built in my DNA, because like I don't get sick, I don't get the cold. I can remember being 15 and my mom, my stepdad, and both my brothers having throwing up everywhere, flu, and I'm walking around like the fucking quarantine plague doctor taking care of them. Never got sick.
maybe you got some Neanderthal genes.
Maybe, dude. I've been. You can ask my mom, dude. I've been sick handfuls of times in my life, and I don't mean like hungover, detoxing, self-induced sickness. I mean, you actually caught something. You know, like when I caught COVID, everyone else was feeling real shitty. Like I said, my back hurt and my legs hurt for like 3 days, and that was it, dude. And I was over it. But anyway, I'm really, and a buddy of ours, Jeremy Pendergrass, he once said, "Scoob, I've personally seen you drink enough liquor to kill an elephant." I consume ridiculous quantities of it, and guess what? My liver's still perfectly fine.
I saw you chug like fucking, I don't know what it was, whiskey or whatever.
Yeah,
it would
have been a fifth too. Yeah, it would have been fifth. That's what I always get.
It was big
fifths of whiskey.
You're like Ozzy. Ozzy Osbourne was once with a doctor, and the doctor said, "You should be dead. I don't understand how you could have done all those drugs and liquor and still be alive." And they found out Ozzy has some Neanderthal DNA. So maybe you have that too.
When I say, go ahead, Jason.
There's a popular meme out there that there's a few different variations of the same meme that says the younger me didn't think the older me would ever exist.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I thought I'd be gone by 27 to 30, somewhere in that range, just by the way I partied, dude, because that's just us.
The people I ran with and the shit that I did, dude, I didn't think I'd see 27. No. You know?
I mean, when I say to you that there were days where I'd be hammering down, like chugging off gallons of booze, fucking smoking weed, doing coke and crank, and fucking eating mushrooms,
acid,
all in the same day. All in the same day. You know, I'm not looking like what's his face in that movie. Remember the Comebacks, the spoof on the sports movie, where he's telling the kids, "You're supposed to be ball players. You should be doing bongs and drinking and eating drugs and fucking up." All the kids were.
You kids would have the gumption to do this on your own, but apparently, I'm gonna have to take you by the friggin' hand. You won a football game! Everybody knows that after you win a football game, you're supposed to consume alcohol at a dangerous rate! You should be popping ecstasy, man! Oh, yeah! And huffing some paint! What's the color? Good time! Yeah! Look at me now, man! Yeah, I brought all these illegal drugs to the party in my fake Louis Vuitton bag that's chock full of pirated DVDs I got down in Chinatown. Who cares, man? I'm just having some fun because I won a football game. Yeah, I'm a huge drug-pushing drug guy. Check me out. Gotta have some more of that. That's the right spot. Now I'm crazy wasted with a bunch of minors, and I'm taking off all my clothes. Yeah, it's cool, man. I'm a football player. That's what we do. Ow! It's the cops. You'll never take me alive.
You know what I'm talking about, Jason? You remember that?
No.
All right, I'm gonna splice it in right here so you guys will see it when you watch it. But anyway, that's the way. that's not an exaggeration. Kevin will come on and he'll confirm the same shit. That's the way it was for us, man. Like, we were garbage pail kids, dude. Fucking, I've smoked heroin. I've never shot heroin, but I've smoked it. Like, dude, fucking
Opium.
opium. So much opium back in the fucking early 2000s, dude.
Yeah.
God, do you remember the red opium that was around?
Yeah, shit looked like bark dust.
Dude, it was
That was
so good, though, bro.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
But
Just
you know,
have me like this,
some men. Well, you know, some men have an extra Y chromosome. Maybe that's a possibility for you as well,
maybe
because
I've never.
men are healthier than women, like because of our muscles. It's just we
Yeah.
fight off
Well,
things more.
yeah, that
Well, they
ha-
live longer, though,
Well,
on average. Women
It's
live
because we
longer.
wear ourselves out doing things with our
Yeah, that's
muscles. You know,
probably true. All that jacking off,
the whole
especially when you're
infrastructure of
locked
the
up.
country.
Especially
Yeah.
when you're locked up in prison. There's a lot of fucking jacking off. That's what the privacy curtains for a lot too.
Oh yeah.
yeah, we
But,
we
you
used
know,
to have
men.
we used to have Jack Night, dude. Everybody in the whole dorm would fucking hit it
Right.
at the same time. They used to
Yeah.
fuck with the COs so hard, dude. It just no tent popped or anything, just full on out there. Just
Oh, speaking
Whoa,
of
that's like a
CO
giant circle jerk, bud.
it was, but we were all laying in our beds. But yeah, it was.
Speaking of privacy and COs, one thing I'm curious about is that though prisons do have a lot of security cameras, they don't set them up everywhere. There are certain
No.
spots
Yeah.
like
Oh,
stairwell,
dark
I think.
spots. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so why do you think they don't put them in certain locations? Do you think it's because of deals that some staff make with inmates, or what do you think that's
Sure.
about?
Well, I'm not so sure about with the inmates and staff, but I think it's
Well, go ahead.
the realization that think that there needs to be a hierarchy, and in
Yeah.
order to maintain power, there has to be a little bit of dark area.
Because there were no cameras in that room I mentioned earlier in San Quentin,
Oh yeah,
the gymnasium,
No, there's no cameras.
and so they just left. On the only way that they would ever find out what was going on is if there was like a riot in there or
Actually,
something.
I take that back. There are cameras in the gym now. There have been for some
They
time.
have him in the gym now.
So,
Yeah.
so how long ago was this guy in there? Because
He went in there. Was I think it was in 2001 or 2002. So it's quite a long time ago. So
well,
when's
I
the
mean, all
first
right,
time you did
I was
time at San
the first
Quentin?
time I went there was 2011.
Yeah, maybe things were a bit different back then.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
possible because there's two references this guy's made now that you've said that I've never heard used in San Quentin, and I've been there twice. You know.
Yeah, so maybe they started calling maybe they called it the hall back then.
Yeah.
Changed the terminology. Yeah.
You know, there were.
But
Yeah. But as
he
far as I know, it's
said
always been called the gym.
well, he said they had a big problem with overcrowding at San
Oh, yeah.
Quentin back then. I don't know if it's still a thing, but
Oh yeah, the gym was open when I was there, and that's what it was for. It's overflow. See, there's such an intake of inmates going into the institution that so you got Badger, Donner, Carson, and West Block, and then Alpine was the PC section. So if you were protective custody, if you were a punk, a bitch, a rat,
SO.
whatever, drop out, by drop out I mean drop out of gang, something like that. You go there, but the rest of them were regular inmate, and they're 500 cells, two people, so 1,000 people per, and San Quentin and West Block was twice as big. There's a bay side and a yard side, so they got 2,000 in there. So you got 2,000, and then you got Carson, Donner, Badger. So another 3,000. So 5,000 inmates in reception, and plus the Alpine, right, which is PC. So there's another up to 1,000. And there's still such an influx coming in that they would overflow into the gym where they just had bunk beds set up in the gymnasium. And by gymnasium, like, yes, people, think of your high school gymnasium. That's what it is. And there's just rows of bunk beds in there, kind of like you'd see in the old zombie movies where they set up at the gymnasium, the disaster relief center. Yeah, just like that. And they're all in.
It's like the LAPD lockup in that movie Colors.
Yes, just like it, bro. Hell, funny
Yeah.
that you said that. So, has anyone seen the movie Blood In, Blood Out?
I
Yeah.
haven't missed on that one, though. Is that about the
Okay.
Aryan Brotherhood?
No, no, no. It's more about Mexico, but it's about gangs in prison and stuff. I'm pretty sure they're Mexican. But anyway, there's a scene where he's walking through the chow hall and he gets confronted kind of by some gays and trannies and stuff in there. Well, here's something that's pretty awesome. I'll cut it in right here too. That's actually really San Quentin chow hall he's walking through. He's really that's really on location. I've been there plenty. I've eaten. I did 9 months there the first time.
Looks
No.
very
Actually, I didn't do that.
familiar, eh?
Actually, I didn't do that. I did 5.5 months the first time. I did not 9 months total. I did 5.5 months the first time, and I did 4 months the second time. So a little over 9 months total. And you'll see it. Watch. So when you guys see it, when he's walking on the walls, you'll see like murals. True story. Those murals right there were painted by one guy back in, I want to say it's the 70s or something like that. And they're made out of coffee. It's all coffee and shoe polish. And it's the most intricate murals, and there's 4 of them, one on each side. There's 3 chow halls, and so there's 2 walls separating the 3, and each side has a different mural on it. And they're one of those murals where everything is something moving into something else. Like it's a road that goes this way into a guy's mouth, and there's like a tree growing out of the guy's head. And you know what I'm saying? It's like one of those
Get
things.
into my mouth.
Yeah, dude, and like there's this whole like California, like so it's this big weird mural, like and everything's like California, so it's all California related. And, like so, there's grapevines growing out of this into something, and it's a trip, and they're so badass that now this is just a rumor I've heard from guys inside and CEOs who work there. I wasn't part of the deal being made, so I can't guarantee this one's accurate, but apparently. They are badass and the artwork's amazing, but apparently they're so badass and artwork's so amazing that the Smithsonian has already purchased the rights to them. So for $1 million per wall, and that way, so if San Quentin ever tears them down or gets rid of that or rebuilds that fucking kitchen or whatever,
They get that wall.
they get those walls to go up in the Smithsonian. And yeah, the dude, it took him. I think he started in the '60s, ended in the '70s, something like that. Or started in the '70s, ended in the early '80s. But it took him like several years to do all these 4 walls, and he did them all just one guy. And they're just bad. But anyway, in that movie, that's the point. Those are totally really the walls. It's pretty cool. So
Well, as they say, you've got nothing but time in there, so you can dedicate yourself to.
Speaking of time, gentlemen, I got to be going soon. So.
Oh yeah. I got one last topic.
Okay.
Speaking of movies, speaking of depictions in television and film, they often depict the warden as this bully, this asshole, like in Shawshank, that Stallone movie Lock-Up. What are they like in real life? Are they like that? Are they vindictive? Do they bully inmates? Or
there isn't much bullying going on by them anymore, really.
Raymond and I's experiences are a lot different to actually comment to get together on that. Like, I didn't have a warden. The guy in charge of the program I was at, he was an arrogant asshole, but I didn't have to deal with him. You know what I mean? Like, all the people that I had to deal with dealt with him. And I think it's probably the same in just about any institution because it was a state-ran institution.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, a lot of them, like I said, they're not like, fucking throw you down. I mean, we'll throw you naked into some cells if you're being a dickhead. Like that will happen, But like,
with your question, Morgan, I imagined like Cool Hand Luke. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, right.
What we have here is a failure to communicate. You know what I mean? But that's what
from a legal standpoint, you're almost like a child in there, and that guy has so much power. So if he abuses that power, it can create tremendous problems for you.
You are property of the state when you're sentenced. Yeah. You no longer belong to you. You belong to them, and that is fact, whether you like it or not.
They make you. They let you know that very, very clearly.
And so what I was going to say is most of them are arrogant pricks, and they will take your shit away, and they will punish you, and you will feel the wrath if you act out. But as long as you're acting cool, they usually don't exert their authority too much.
As long as you don't give them a reason to fuck them. I mean, sure, there's some dicks that'll
Right.
fuck with you. But if you don't fuck with them back, you're just like, oh,
Matter
whatever.
of fact,
You know?
most wardens' perfect day is they don't even have to step foot on the yard.
Yeah.
They don't even
Yeah,
have to see anyone. You know what I'm saying? So everything just runs smoothly. Like they want us to just be a big cog. The inmates do their thing. The COs corral us, and we all fucking go back to our houses at the end of the day.
We feed the cattle. You go back
And then
to
it
your
starts all
pen.
over again the next. Exactly. You know.
The warden has a lot of influence over whether you're released or not, right? Your
Oh,
parole.
definitely. Definitely.
If you don't have their approval, you're not going to get out
Well,
at that time.
they can easily give you a negative recommendation, which realistically people are going to listen to. But what that's ultimately up to is the parole board and your counselor. You know, and usually the warden will go on. You know, the warden. I mean, you have to be like a major dick for the warden to come out and be like, no. Usually they don't even get involved in that.
He's like, I'm tired of that fucking asshole. He's going to stay here for another 6 years.
Yeah. Matter of fact, if the warden hates you that much, he probably would have transferred your ass by now.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Because that's the thing. All
No,
32 institutions in California are all interconnected. They can, and you know, he probably what they will do is they'll transfer your ass and they'll transfer you to a place called Ironwood, you know, or something like that. Dude, it's as far down south as you can get, and it's out in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of the desert, dude. And it's like down like past San Diego, like you're practically in Mexico, dude. And fucking, it's a shithole. And I've never been there, thank goodness, but every person I've ever met who's been there or been through there say, no, you do not want to go to Ironwood. It just fucking sucks. I was in Corcoran, which is the middle of nothing. Outside the fences, there's nothing but tumbleweeds and jackrabbits. I'm dead serious, and it's hot as shit. I was there in the summer, and even those guys were like, no, you don't want to go to
remember that
Ironwood.
shit.
Yeah, remember that? Even they were like, you don't want to go to fucking Ironwood, bro.
Imagine being surrounded by the worst inmates in the system. That must have been pretty horrible for anyone who had to go to Ironwood.
Yeah, you know.
I mean,
normal people got sent there, like normal inmates, like people. Some people just got. That's where their counselor sent them. That's where their points added up to, and that's fucking where there was a bed available, you know. So, but there's more than just Ironwood. There's a few other places that are just fucking shitholes that are fucked up, or the climate's shit. And they will send you there if you piss them off to one of those places.
You know, I actually did that. I had that happen to me, Morgan, on my second or third day. Because I'm a big dude. I've been the same size since I was like 14 or something. I've always had the same stature, and there was three other big dudes when I went there, and there was a white dude, a black dude, and a Portuguese dude that pretended like he was Mexican. And they had
That's
words.
a Plexican.
Yeah, we had words, they fucking, I was new to the whole thing, so I just went with it. But yeah, it does happen. It does happen,
How tall are you?
I'm 75 and a half inches, 6'3.5".
That's quite tall, yeah. You and Scoob are about the same height, right?
No, Scooby's like a foot shorter than me.
No, dude. I'm just about right around 6'1", and maybe a smidge shorter than that. No, I think I'm shrinking a little bit, if you want to know the honest truth. I think I started shrinking already.
I am too.
Yeah. Because I used to be just over, like almost 6'1.5". But the last time I went to the doctors, and fucking, she was like, oh yeah, so you're just over 6 foot. And I'm like, wait, what? And she was like, yeah. I'm like, fuck, you telling me I've lost almost an inch, like about an inch and a half, damn near? And she was like, fuck, I guess so.
Yeah, I guess
back then I was rolling about 250, 265 pounds. Now I'm down to like 220, so I'm a little bit leaner. But I was a lot larger than I am now. Yeah.
Right.
On that
Especially
note,
my penis.
yeah, that's what she said.
That's what she said.
That's what she always says.
Right.
On that note, I think we're at an hour and 10, so I think that's good, and we had a great conversation as before.
Yeah, sure, man. Good chat, everybody.
All right.
Now, good.
We need a catchphrase for when we sign off.
I got it right. It's right here, man. I said it last time. I'm about to hit it again as soon as you guys are done. I got you.
The can is empty again, or time to empty the can.
Don't get busted.
Yeah.
Don't get busted. I like
That's
that.
right. Yeah.
Don't get busted.
That's
Or you'll
Sorry,
be joining us. Don't get busted. You'll be joining us here in the can.
Stay out of the can, man.
Boom. That's it, bro. That's the sign up. Don't get busted. You'll be joining us here in the can.
Give me your shoes.
Yeah. You're going to eat your cornbread.
You got any top ramen?
You're gonna try and steal from me, motherfucker.
Hey, what you got on my soup?
You remember my sister?
Hey, those shoes look just about my size.
Wake up, boy.
I heard you fought and it sounded just about the right size.
Quick story, and we'll end it here. Okay, this is true because it's something I used to say too. So I was in Solano County, which is a tough county, 23-hour lockdown. I saw this kid coming in.
Solano County is
tough.
hardcore.
Yeah, dude, I'm one of like 3 crackers in the box, bro.
Yeah.
And anyway, fucking here comes this little white kid, dude, and you could see he's scared as shit. I'm sitting looking at him, and I'm like, they're gonna put this kid in my cell, man. I kind of hope they do too, because I'm not gonna fuck with them or whatever. But I'm fucking with them a little bit. But anyway, I'm not gonna like punk. It's not my get down. I don't like bullies, so I don't bully. You know what I'm saying?
You were ready to be his friend, weren't you?
Exactly. Yes. You
could have made him
so anyway, he comes in.
He was like the Squirrel King. He was like, oh,
yeah.
here comes another fresh meat.
And he's like this, dude, bro. Like, as he did that. So anyway, and sure as shit, they do put him in my cell, and we're in there, we're chatting. I break the ice tension. I make him feel he's a little more comfortable as everything. All right. So now we're getting up on our, we're hitting the racks, dude. Cause it's late. It's late night, dude. They came in late night anyway. So we're hitting the racks. We're getting ready to go to bed. Lights are out, and so we're laying there, and I wait a few seconds for it to get quiet. Then as I'm laying there, I go, hey, he's on the top bunk, I'm on the bottom. Hey, boy, let me tell you something. Tonight, you better sleep on your back, or I will. And I swear to God, bro, you could hear and feel the whole air around him just tense up, and all of a sudden he's like, "Wait, what?" I started, dude, I couldn't hold it, dude.
Bro.
I started cracking up laughing. I'm like, dude, don't worry, kid. I'm just fucking with you, bro. I bet you he fucking slept one eye open that night, though.
Yeah. Probably nearly passed out.
Oh, I know. That's so fucking mean, bro. So funny. I said it just like that. Hey, boy, let me tell you something. I look just like this, too,
All right, well, on that note,
guys.
I would like to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving.
For sure.
Morgan, you have your Thanksgiving next week. Like, don't you guys have a Thanksgiving the week after us?
Ours is in October. Yeah.
Oh.
But it's not as meaningful.
That's very American of us to be late.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's not as meaningful to us as it is to Americans as well.
But that's a whole other show. I mean,
yeah.
Well,
Thanksgiving. Go into that next time.
I appreciate your guys' time. This was a really good show, you guys.
For sure.
Ray, Morgan.
Yeah, thanks,
guys.
All right, guys.
All that good shit.
Don't get busted. You'll be joining us here in the can.
Don't get busted.
That's right. Take care.
But I don't want to leave. Prison is the best.
Disco pool party, yeah, fuck you. Smoke a lot of weed and get really fucking stoned. Yeah.